on behalf of the Institute for Leadership and Strategic Foresight, welcome to So You Want to Be the Chief, a podcast for leaders.
It's a huge honor to have my guest with me today. I love this man dearly. I saw him when he got promoted to, when he was selected to be a chief. Chief Keith, forgive me, Keith Castille. Am I saying it right, brother?
You're definitely saying it right.
Okay.
You know, everybody call me KC though.
KC, okay, well, that's I'll call you Chief probably, or brother. But I really truly I remember that morning when we were in San Antonio at a PACE conference, and Dino got up and she says, "Hey, I got an announcement to make, and the announcement is that we have a new chief among us." And then they introduced you and your family, your mom, your wife was there, your boys, and all that. A great day, man. It was a great day. So
it was.
And now a few years later, because that was what, 2017?
17.
So a few years later, we're back together. We've been together kind of externally, but anyway, you are about to hang it up, Chief. You're not even making Chiefs pay yet, man. How long you been in?
28 years. 28 years.
2 more years before you make Chiefs pay.
True. But it's people say when but that's not. I don't think that's the truth.
No.
I think for me it was. I always had a yearning for corporate space to do something different.
Yeah.
And I started to get exposed a little more to more things I'm interested in, especially as I'm working through this my final education challenge for myself. And I'm like, man, I would really love to get in this corporate space. And I looked at my time, I'm like, well, I can get to 30. And I'm like, but my passion for this other thing was more than staying.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like, I would love to stay 40 more, but it's, I'm, once an airman, always an airman. And we always going to stay connected.
Indeed.
And doing things with and for airmen.
Yeah. Well, and advice to you and anybody who's listening, make the decision based on the needs of your family, the needs of yourself, your own self, and go with it. Don't second guess yourself, because I've known so many people. I've been around a little bit, and I know so many people that second guess them. I should have. No, you should have done what you did do, because that was the right timing. So don't second guess yourself. I mean, I know a lot of senior master sergeants who say, man, I wish I had stayed for another year to make chief. Well, you may not have made it, and you would have stayed longer and it would not have worked out for you. So you make the decision and go with it. So
I agree with that.
You're in the Pentagon, I think, right, Chief?
Yes, I work in the Pentagon. Okay. I work talent management innovation.
Talent management innovation. Okay.
We say innovation, but honestly, it's all talent management. But we call ourselves a talent management cell, but we also research and develop, kind of think of ways to develop innovation into the process of talent management. So kind of forward thinking, kind of forward concept looking. Those are really the big major points of it. But talent management cell is the actual office.
That's the office. Okay. And you got someone already set up to take your place?
Not yet. So they're looking.
Hey. Okay. Yeah, you don't want me, man. I'm too old for it. I used to be able to say, I'll still take you, but nowadays, man, give it another 30 years and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, the topic for today that we want to discuss a little bit is lesson 4 in the book, mentor. And it's not the noun, it's the verb. Go out and mentor. Interesting, as I was thinking about what our conversation would entail, I'm thinking, sometimes we don't even know we're mentoring. I have been introduced by people that say, hey, this is my mentor. And I'm thinking, oh, crap. I hope I've been doing the right things, because I didn't know that I was mentoring. But and especially as a chief, people are going to see you as that. I'll say this is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Everyone expects the chief to have the answer. And I think we, especially those folks that I've mentored that are chiefs, realize that no, there's a lot of humility in being a chief, and humility means I don't know. Now I don't have the answer, but I know who does. And that's where the value comes in. That's where the mentoring comes in, I think. But mentoring, and I know that's one of your favorite topics. Do you do that a lot, officially, unofficially? You know, and that's the other thing. A lot of times it's unofficial.
Yeah. So, being the programs that we have been in and the jobs that we have been in, I've gotten exposed, or at least into mentoring, and then actually looking at it from an enterprise perspective. But then last year, 2 years ago, I actually got involved with the Department of the Air Force coaching program. Our brother Joe, he's his office kind of runs that program, and great people making sure that that's executed. But it's the DAF coaching program. But when being trained on the concepts, the principles of coaching, but I also look at coaching. It is a form of mentoring in a way, but I don't want to confuse it, because there's coaching, mentoring, and sponsoring, right? But mentoring is something very unique. But as I do a lot of coaching, I notice that a lot of my clients, I say clients, they're actually leaders in the Air Force. They're looking more for mentoring, especially because I wear the rank of a chief. And so there are times when I'm in a room with the virtual room with my clients, my leaders. I have to say, hey, let me take off this coaching hat and let's put on this mentoring hat, because I need you to understand there's a difference between the two.
Right.
And I don't want to intertwine them. And I have to go through kind of the initial, just description of what mentoring is,
Yes.
I think that's important for us as we start the conversation.
And a lot of times, in my experience with doing mentoring and coaching, you're doing just like what you're saying. You're doing both. You're switching from one to the other. There's a portion of the discussion that may be more coaching centered, and then all of a sudden it switches to mentoring. And I think what happens often, Chief, is that the mentee, the protege, whatever term we use, asks for that. As a coach, we're trying to ask the questions. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And then they say, well, what do you think, Chief? Okay, now you become a mentor, and you need to know the difference so that you can and not. And I always, when I'm mentoring people, I'm kind of playing a mentor coach, because I'm asking, are you wanting my advice now? Because if they don't want my advice, I don't want to give it to them. But as a mentor, especially as an old chief, you're expected to, a lot of times, mentor when it should be more coaching. I think that does that make sense?
Agree. Let me, I got your book here, so so I'm a, and it's
you did read it. Good.
I got a picture. Remember when I was at USAFA?
Yep.
Long story. Okay, that's a whole nother podcast. But what I love about your description of it is that you call it a protege, and give me a moment, because I really want to unpack that for a minute. Because when you call it a protege from your days as a, you've been a chief for a very long time, but but your time wearing a uniform and then moving on to other business, still being an airman but not wearing a uniform, you understood that a protege was not transactional. You understood that a protege was actually a connection between two people. And then we started to say, well, let's call this professional word. You are a mentee. You are a mentor, which is, a mentor is good. But I think for some reason, when we changed the terminology, we took away in some ways the transformational part of it. I'm actually bringing you up. I'm actually molding you. And my mentorship is not only for professional reasons, because when I mentor folks, I tell them right off the bat, like, I am going to give advice and discussions on your professional and your personal life, because I think a true protege, mentor with the mentee, a mentor is not just to look at one side of your life. I don't want to create just a good airman. I don't want to help advise for you to be good from 9 to 5. I want you to go home and be a good mother, brother, sister, mate, whatever it is that you have within your life, that you're good 24/7, not only doing a professional time in your life.
And in my experience, Chief, it's very, very difficult to separate both.
Yeah.
I've heard people tell me, they mean straight up tell me, well, I'm different at work than I am at work at home. Well, yes, probably your role is different, and maybe how you behave to some degree is different, but there's some things, the foundation, your soul, your essence is still the same. You can't
Yes.
separate that. You can try, and it's like, as an example, way back when I used to use the F-bomb a lot. It was
Mhm.
just normal for us to do that until I did it with in front of my uncle, my favorite uncle. And whoa, that changed me, man. I said, I will never do that, because I always used to say, well, when I'm in front of my family, I won't say that. But when I'm in front of all the guys, then I will. No, your mind won't do it. You're going to be who you are. And you're
Yeah.
right. I think, and a good term possibly is citizen. We want you to be a good citizen as well, a
Yeah.
good dad, a good husband, a wife, all that, but a good citizen too. And I think we inadvertently developed that in our airmen, because I tell people I live up in the mountains in Colorado, and there are a lot of kids that in the area, and they take the bus in the morning. They wait for the bus, and they come back in the bus. And I tell their parents, you don't have to worry about them, because I'm retired. I'm sitting at my computer watching them. No one is going to touch them. No one is going to hurt them, because I don't care how old I am. I'm not their dad. I have no idea who these kids are, but I will protect them, because I'm a good citizen, because that was what I was taught as a chief. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. You remember, I think you still have that the creed. I will never leave an airman behind.
Never leaving there behind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will never leave anyone behind, man.
Yeah.
An American, an ally. I'm not going to leave anybody, and that's what I think we eventually develop, and we develop that through mentoring. And again, the mentoring part, we always think that. We need to look for someone and ask them. I think we get mentored without asking.
Yeah.
The books, a lot of
Yeah.
people think when they write me and say, hey, you've been mentoring me through your books. Well,
Mhm.
okay, I guess that's a way of doing it. I never
Yeah.
think about it that way. But and it's a mutual process. I grow by mentoring others
Yeah.
as much as I, help others grow.
Yeah. One thing I have picked up over the last probably few years was that people that come to me for mentorship look like me. They come from the same background as me. Um, and I really had to get some of my I call them leaders to understand that mentorship is not restricted by color. It's not restricted by anything. You have to find someone that you connect with. Like, I can get to know you, and we don't have anything in common. I may not be I'm not the right mentor. We're not going to connect. And so I had to, and please don't edit this out, but I had to refer some of the individuals who've come to me for mentorship and say, I think there's a better person out there for you. I would love to continue our friendship relationship, but I believe that there's a better person out there for you. Because I think one part in the book you talk about is you gotta get to know you gotta get to know that person. And it's not nothing negative to say, hey, well, I'm a sports guy, right? So I play basketball. If you are an individual who do games all the time, and that's in your world, like, I may not be able to connect with you because I don't understand the games you play. I don't understand, kind of your area in IT. Like, I'm not an IT guy, but and this is real. Like, Intel guys, they'll come to me, and I'm like, okay. Now, don't get me wrong, I have some clients who are Intel, but in some AFSCs, Air Force Specialties, I may have not connected, or just people I've met in life, like through Facebook and so forth. We just don't connect on a certain level after probably 2 or 3 meetups, and I'm like, hey, I think John would be better, because John is more in your space and what you're looking for, because
Right.
you're trying to grow a business in this, and I'm a leadership guy,
Right. Yeah.
and so I think that's important, to find that right person and get to know
And I think what a fallacy in the mentoring realm, I'll say, Chief, is that you only have one, or that you
them.
have a mentor that teaches you everything. You know, again, I'm an old guy. I have at least 6 mentors
Oh
in
yes.
different specific areas. DJ Vanis is my writing mentor and my spiritual mentor because we're
Hmm.
both Native American. And whenever I need to talk to him about those specific things, about a new book and whatever, I reach out to him and connect with him, and we have a great conversation. I have a general mentor who is the first real, no kidding, chief, John Sterrell, whom I met, who made me a chief. And that's a different type of mentoring, different
Hmm.
area that he mentors me in. So
Hmm.
if we're smart, we have a mentor. We have a lot of mentors for those specific areas.
Hmm.
It's if you wanted me, this is ridiculous that you would come to me to mentor you to be a singer. I
Hmm.
cannot sing, brother, and I'm not gonna. I could prove it to you. Singing in the shower and all that. My wife won't let me. It's that bad, and the
Yeah.
dogs howl and everything. So no, don't. I can't help you in
Yeah.
that. Other than I could give you some fun, like you say, some
Yeah.
foundational stuff about singing, but then I'd have to send you to someone who really knows this,
Yeah.
rebut.
That's a good point, because when we talked on this earlier, for the new chiefs, right? And it's they come to me, especially when the year I sold on. So the next year I'm like the mentor, right? And so they just made chief. It's like, how how do I how I'm trying to learn how to be a chief, a good chief. How do I be brother, sister? I don't know,
Yeah,
but I can tell you how to connect with airmen. I can tell you, I can tell you what I've done to connect with airmen, what works, but that's one method. Chief Vasquez is going to have a totally different method that works for him. I said, but I can't tell you how to be a good Chief Master Sergeant. I can tell you how to do certain things and attributes and characteristics that will help you be better,
right.
or get to the level of success you want, within this chief rank, or this chief responsibility, I would
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, as far as the process, Chief, do you have some tips that you can give, especially, and this is for anybody who's learning how to mentor? The one tip that I often give, and you saw it in the book many times, write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we used to think that writing things down was a sign of old age. Well,
Yeah.
no, so what is it? The youngsters say TMI, too much
Yeah.
information. If you don't capture it, and as I say, writing down, maybe on your iPhone, whatever, because everybody
Yeah.
uses technology, but capture it that way. There's one of my stories, in fact, the story in the book, no kidding, happened. I had a great relationship as a first sergeant with a fellow first sergeant, and on his departure luncheon, I went up to him to congratulate him and say goodbye. And I said, thank you, Mike, for all that you've done. And he says, Bob, my name is not Mike. Ah, I've been calling him Mike all this time, and I never really, I didn't know him well enough and he wasn't courageous enough to tell me, hey, that's not my name.
Mm-hmm.
It may be a little thing, but that's a pretty powerful
It's a
thing,
big deal.
I think. So after that, I thought, I need to write this stuff down. What was his name? What was his name? Keith Castille. Keith Castille,
Yeah.
yeah. Cajun, yeah. Nola, okay, I can remember that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Yeah.
and as a chief, and especially like in a position like you see a lot of people. People like. And you remember I was at the Air Force Academy. Graduates come up to me still, and they say, "Hey, Chief, how you doing?" Like, hi. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think about who is this person until they tell me I'm class 86. Okay, whatever class. Okay, I kind of figure out that after that, but just too much information. So write it
Yeah.
down. Big important tip: write it down or capture it some way so that you can retrieve it somehow when you see them again.
Yeah. I was getting, man, let me tell you, that was beginning to be one of my superpowers when I was at Pace, getting to know people, looking at their faces, and then remembering their names. And then the Air Force sent me to basic military training. It was,
Again.
and I was there for almost 2 years, and thousands, and I can imagine the USAFA world, but in my own squadron, I get 700 plus every couple of weeks, but
Yeah.
every 7 to 8 weeks, but and after that I was like, people coming to me now, I'm like, I don't know. But to answer your question, yeah, and I think that the question was, more about how do I select mentees, or really, and I love your conversation on the write down, because writing down when I walk into rooms, just overall, just giving briefs and so forth, we have lost that art.
Yeah.
Like, I saw where, you go to some forums, they would give you they give you notebooks and you would write. And I've gone to some lately and it's like people are asked to bring their own stuff, and people are just listening, which is good because some people are auditory, right? But what I have also learned too, and this is through Dr. Smith, is when I was at Pace, and he said, when you're mentoring folks, you want them to listen to make sure they're engaged, come to a pause, and then give them time to write. And so when I'm mentoring, like I'm like, hey, hold on, let's stay eyeball to eyeball. All right, now write some things down. And or sometimes I will prompt them to write some things down because I saw that aha moment, like, oh man, I got it. Like, chief, you got it. Like, and then I like, okay, write that down.
Right.
Because I want to make sure that we're engaged. Because we also have to mentor in certain ways because of the generation, right? The generation gap, I wouldn't say gap, but the generation differences.
Right.
And that this generation, they're big on this small amount of time, right? Like, give me 2 minutes and then, boom. And then, then it's all about burst. And if we just try to give them information in 45 minutes and then say, okay, hey, now try to write, they don't remember anything past that 35. Right. And I hate the stereotype, but I try to appeal to the person, their learning abilities and how I can connect. Cause that's what your book talks about, is connect with them on their own turf, right?
Right.
Like, my turf is different. My turf is archaic, but their turf might be more technologically sound, more micro-based, maybe chunk-based. And so I try to appeal to what they need versus what my needs are.
Yeah. And even the language, again, then I don't know Cajun language, but I'm sure that if I was really wanting to get deep into especially the cultural part, I would have to learn some of those terms because they mean something. I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish, and there's some terms that cannot be translated. So it's if you don't know that term and you're trying to get to that topic, that subject, you better know how to, a little bit at least, how to say it or how to get to it, and again, a lot of times, especially a chief, one of the previous lessons, you don't know everything, if and that goes with humility. If you think you know everything, you're not going to be a very good mentor. That's my perspective. But if you're, like I said a while ago, it's a mutual respect process where I'm going to learn something as I teach you if I can, or in coaching, if I get you to empower yourself, all of that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of humility, I think, that happens in mentoring. So yeah, write it down. I hadn't thought about what you were just saying, Chief, about the protege needs to write down some of those things, because I've been there too, where oh yes. I studied with Stephen Covey, and whenever I was with him, it's like, wow, it's like his term, the drinking out of a fire hydrant.
Yeah,
all of this wisdom is coming at me, and I can't remember all that stuff. There's no way. What did he say? Oh no, I forgot. I lost. So,
and if you're writing while they're talking, they're getting thrown off too. So I've learned, even as I'm doing the coaching thing, I learned that too. Like, it's because I want to take at least some bits of notes, but if they're telling me something passionate and I'm writing, and so but I think that's all important in the conversation of mentoring, because it's one, as the book states, is that is on their turf. It's the things that they want to talk about, right? Is the things that they want to get mentored on versus where I am sharing, things that I've been through and just giving them my story versus listening to their story and say, okay, so what's this mentorship for? Well, Chief KC, I really want to make rank. And I bring that up for a reason, because I'm not here to promote you. I'm not here to get you lined up for the next rank. I'm not the person to mentor your own promotion. I'm the person to mentor you on life skills and people skills. You don't want a mentor, and I think this is important for our new chiefs, is that your job is not to mentor people for promotion and to spend your time specifically on getting them lined up. That's their job. Your job is to help mentor them on the skills and the attributes needed to be successful in their job and how to be successful with people, or if you're in a job, be successful without people and getting things done. And then being able to translate that to their work, to their home environment. Yeah. And I strongly believe in that.
Yes. And the other part of that I think goes into that, Chief, is listening empathically.
Mm-hmm.
Listening, because I have some friends who are not very good listeners, and I love them dearly, but man, I can't hang with them because I know they're not paying attention to me.
Yeah.
Now, my wife says I do that, but there's a reason. I'm a lot older than her.
Yeah. And plus, you already know what they're going to say, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Well, she finishes my sentence all the time, so it's like I don't say much anymore. I just whatever. But listening is an important skill, I think, in mentoring, empathically. And I think the difference between just hearing and other ways of listening and empathic listening is to seek understanding. Yes. No judgment. That's hard, man. Especially when somebody's, those people that you don't really get along with. You know what I'm talking about. You got to open up and listen to what they're trying to express, how they're feeling, which can be a little bit, a lot of times in the old days, I would say, well, shut up and let me tell you how you're feeling. That's not very good mentorship. That's not going to work very well.
And you're right. That empathetic listening is a skill that has to be taught, in my opinion. I think for us, coming up, and we understood that listening is part of connecting. We moved to an age where things come to us fast, it comes to us quick, and we want to kind of grab it, absorb it, move on, right? But that empathetic listening kind of went to the wayside just a bit, right? And so one thing I try to discuss, especially, mentoring, is I like to structure mine, right? So it's pre-mentoring. So it's let's have a baseline meeting, like 30 minutes, just to talk about how we're gonna go into this professional relationship of mentoring. And part of it, I talk about empathetic listening. The keys to empathetic listening is, like you said, on the head. It's listening to understand, listening without judgment, and from both ends, because you're going to say some things as part of your discussion to me to get mentorship on. I am going to say some things, and you may not agree, and you're already doing this, right? You're already, no, Chief, no, that's not. This is a collaboration, and this is a partnership. And mentorship goes both ways. I'm going to learn something, you're going to learn something, but that's a level of respect, from the mentee to the protege to the mentor. All those things has to be intertwined. I think that's an important aspect of this mentoring process.
Yeah, I like all that thinking. Now we got a few minutes, Chief. You're about to pull the plug and go be a big CEO somewhere and make a lot of money. By the way, Chiefs, the new Chiefs, you don't make a lot of money. It's not a big difference. You still got to pay the bills. But say goodbye to all of these folks that are listening to you, Chief.
Yeah. So hey, whether you're a chief, grabbing the stripe and gonna tack it on here soon, or that youngest of airmen that's coming in, right now, or thinking about joining, or you're even that officer who's going on to lead airmen. The one thing I would say is, and lead with love and lead with compassion. At the end of the day, we're gonna be asked to do hard things. Yeah. Period. Hard things. Yeah. And what should not be hard is caring and loving for the people who do the work for you, with you. And that should come first. Yeah. When love is in your heart and you care about the people that's with you, the things that you're able to accomplish, the things that you're able to achieve is far greater when it's there. Yeah. And that's the memory, that's the bond you always have. As I'm thinking about, my final month in the Air Force, I'm not thinking about, how many bombs I loaded as a weapons troop. I'm not thinking about, how many students I taught when I was an NCO Academy instructor. No, I'm thinking about the relationships while we're doing certain things. I'm thinking about the times that we shared things together, we cried, we laughed. And those are the memories that stay with you forever.
Yep.
Not the amount of bombs you loaded, not the amount of wickets you put, into a system or whatever those things may be. It's about the people. So
Yeah.
remember that people are the reason why we're here, and the people are the reasons why we in this leadership position.
Yep.
And leadership is the reason why people are looking at those that have paved the way, like the Chief Vasquez's and the, and all the other chiefs out there. And, they're the ones who's looking up saying, I want to be just like them.
Yeah.
And we got to give them a marker.
Yeah. Well, and let me speak for all of the old chiefs. You can be better than us, and you will be better than us. Well, and thank you so much, brother, for taking the time because you're still busy getting stuff done, for being on the show. And thank you for your friendship, man. It hasn't been long enough, unfortunately, but it's been long enough that I find a bond with you. And I hope that are you going back to New Louisiana, or what are you staying there?
We're gonna stay here in the NCR, area.
Yeah.
Upper Virginia area, and we're just gonna plant seeds here and see where life takes us from there.
Yeah. Well, next time you make some gumbo or some etouffee, please invite me, man. Just and not what is that? What do they call it? An open invitation? No, man.
Yeah.
You tell me what day to be there, what time to be there. Get Joe Bogdan and Jose Ramon over there, and we'll have some good eating.
Yeah. Yeah, but Joe's in a whole nother level on cooking, man.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's level 10. I'm level 2. So
okay, all right. Well, God bless you, brother, and best of luck in your next chapter, whatever it is that you're going to do. And don't forget your friends.
That's right. That's right. Well, Chief, I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.